Dear students, welcome to the digital classroom of Cambrian College. This is Amitab with you again with new lesson of new unit. And the unit 2 and lesson 3 will be discussed today, and the name or title of the unit 3 is Scientific Breakthroughs We Are Waiting for One. At the end of the lesson, you will be able to comprehend the advancement of science, learn the proposed cure for cancer, and learn the importance and possibilities of clean energy. These are the learning outcome of today's class. Let's have a look of this image. What do you understand? Yes, this is the image that gives you the clear idea of clean energy. These are the sources of clean energy. Okay, clean energy will be discussed today. Fossil fuels. Before discussing clean energy, fossil fuels will have to be discussed. And what are the sources of fossil fuel? Coal, oil, natural gases are the sources of fossil fuel, and out of these sources we get energy. Now, coal and oil, that means a fossil fuel. These fossil fuels are non-renewable. That means these are non-renewable sources of energy. That means if the energy gets exhausted, we cannot get it back again. Okay, that means these coal and oil are fossil fuels, and these are non-renewable sources of energy. And out of these fossil fuels, that means non-renewable sources of energy, we get power. That means electricity. And 80% of all energy comes by burning fossil fuel. And how do we get energy out of fossil fuel? Through burning. That means through combustion. Through combustion, we get power out of these fossil fuels, and these fossil fuels are non-renewable. And what are the ultimate consequences of getting energy out of the fossil fuels is, and whenever these fossil fuels are burned to get energy, greenhouse gases are released into the air. These are very much harmful to the environment. So that means these fossil fuels pollute the environment. So fossil fuels, which is non-renewable energy sources of energy, helps us to get electricity or energy. At the same time, it creates detrimental effect to the environment. So fossil fuels are produced from, how do we get fossil fuels? Fossilized plants and animals. Out of fossilized plants and animals, fossil fuels are produced. And how do we get fossilized plants and animals? The process of fossilization. And with the process of fossilization, we get fossil plants and animals. And this process, that means the process of fossilization, takes place under the ground. Whenever the fossilization takes place under the ground, we get fossilized plants and animals. Out of these fossilized plants and animals, we get fossil fuels, and out of these fossil fuels, we can produce energy or power. Then, fossil fuels aren't expected to last long and will be exhausted in near future. Whenever the class was started, the information was given to you that the fossil fuel will be exhausted in near future. Then what will be the ultimate source of getting energy? That means for that reason we are proceeding for clean energy. What does the information say? The information says that the fossil fuel will be exhausted in near future. That means it won't last long. Then what will be the source of getting energy? They pollute environment. That means these slides discusses about the demerits of fossil fuel. Two demerits we have learned about the fossil fuels. And what are the demerits? Fossil fuels are not expected to last long and they will exhaust in future. And they pollute environment. by releasing greenhouse gases whenever they are burned for getting power. And they have led to tension between two nations. Fossil fuel is responsible for creating conflict between the two nations. For that reason, it is said that they have led tensions between two nations. So, three demerits regarding fossil fuel we have learned. What are they? Fossil fuels will be exhausted in near future, and they are not expected to last long, and they are very much detrimental to environment, and they have led tension. That means they always create tension between two nations. These are the demerits of fossil fuels. Then we should go for something new. Fossil fuel is non-renewable, so we should find out some sources that are renewable, and out of this renewable source of energy we can easily produce energy that will never be exhausted in future, as fossil fuel gets exhausted in future. So we should go for something that will never be exhausted. And what are the sources of non-renewable energy? Solar, hydropower. These are the sources of clean energy. Clean energy. It is said clean energy because it is completely clean. That means it doesn't pollute environment. For that reason, it is says that it is clean energy, and these are the sources of clean energy. Wind and windmill. Out of this windmill, with the help of wind, we can produce power, and the process is very much friendly to the environment. This process doesn't create any pollution. Biofuel. So biofuel, a fuel derived immediately from residue. So out of residue we can get biofuel. This is renewable and environment friendly. All these sources put in this slide are very much friendly to the environment, and out of these friendly sources we can easily produce power which will be renewable and environment friendly. Then geothermal. Geothermal. The power is produced with the process of geothermal, and the heat of the earth is used in the case of geothermal. That means the earth, underneath the earth, huge amount of pressure and heat we find. So these pressure and heat are used to produce energy. Tidal. That means this is one of the sources of clean energy. In that case, current of the river or of water, river water, is used to produce electricity or power. So, importance of clean energy has been discussed. Why is clean energy important? Demerits of fossil fuel have been discussed in the previous slides. So there are many demerits regarding fossil fuel for getting power out of these fossil fuels. But clean energy, it is environment friendly, it doesn't pollute environment. For that reason there lies importance regarding clean energy. Why is it important? Because it's environment friendly. It doesn't create any pollution. That means it doesn't pollute the environment. And the main point is that it is expected to last long. The fossil fuels are not expected to last long. On the other hand, clean energy is expected to last long. Fossil fuel is not environment friendly. On the other hand, clean energy is undoubtedly environment friendly. Fossil fuel pollutes environment. On the contrary, clean energy doesn't pollute the environment. So there lies the importance of clean energy. Clean energy is hard to obtain. Yes, we are proceeding forward, getting clean energy, getting power out of clean energy, but it is not easy to get the power out of the clean energy. It is very much hard. What are the problems lies behind it? We tend to cling traditional lifestyle. Cling to, that means we try to adhere to be stuck to our old-fashioned lifestyle. For that reason, we don't tend to embrace something newness. So we are used to the habit which is already deep-rooted inside us. So we don't want to cast away the pre-established habit, pre-established lifestyle, and we don't try or will to embrace something new. So it is really difficult to make the switch to the habit. It is really difficult to get out of the previous habit and go for the new one. So it is difficult. And the information is given in the passage that we have spent past 150 years dependent on fossil fuels. That means depending on fossil fuels, we have used 150 years. As we are used to getting power out of fossil fuels, we hardly show our willingness to get power out of the clean energy. So this is one of the problems, difficulties through which we can hardly get clean energy. Next, technology for producing clean energy exists. For producing power out of clean energy, technology is available, but we can hardly apply this technology. What are the reasons? Because the technology is suppressed big oil company. Oil company earn their profit by producing energy out of the clean energy, out of the fossil fuels, not clean energy, out of the fossil fuels. They are used to getting power, producing power out of fossil fuels. So if we become dependent on clean energy, they will be ruined. Their companies will face extinction. So frequently they don't try to support or they don't encourage us to be dependent on clean energy. So very often the process of producing power out of clean energy is suppressed by oil companies. So this is one of the obstacles of getting clean energy, though technology exists. That's all for clean energy versus fossil fuels. Then Q for cancer. Cancer is a fatal disease. Scientists are desperately trying to unravel the cure of science. Cancer, one of the deadliest diseases. We know about it. It is one of the deadliest diseases. We can hardly get rid of it. Cancer is compared to common cold. In your passage, it says that cancer is compared to common cold because, like common cold, there are many different types of cancers. Common cold has different types. Similarly, cancer, like common cold, has different types. For that reason, cancer is compared to common cold. And no cure is found. Regarding cancer, no cure is found. Actually, for common cold, no permanent cure is found. Similarly, no cure is found for cancer. For that reason, cancer is compared to common cold. And what are the ways to combat cancer? Proposed cures for cancer. Many cures for cancer have been proposed, and these are mentioned in your text, and I have mentioned in a very chronological way. Progression of modern science. With the advancement of modern science, there is the possibility of treating cancer. So here it is put that the progression of modern science is one of the ways of getting rid of cancer. Wide assortment of drugs. A huge number of drugs are used regarding the treatment of cancer. So it is said that wide assortment of drugs can be one of the means of getting rid of or treating cancer. Use of genetically modified virus. We are trying to modify virus, basically genetically modified virus, to treat the cancer. So this information, these proposed cures have been has been used here. Analysis of chemicals. Scientists are trying heart and soul to analyze the chemicals where the means of getting rid of cancer may lie. Development of stem cell system. Through the development of stem cells treatment, we can probably cure cancer. And use of arsenic. With the help of using arsenic, we can treat cancer. These are the proposed cures, methods, ways mentioned in your text, which are applied for the treatment of cancer. So exercise 3 questions have been given here, and the answer of this question, answer to these questions have been discussed in your slides. If you in a very with deep concentration, if you observe or enjoy this video, you can definitely answer to these questions. And what are the questions? Number 1, what different methods of producing clean energy are being used now? The methods of producing clean energy, what are the methods regarding the produce of clean energy have been discussed, so you can easily answer to this question. How is cancer similar to common cold? In the couple of previous slides, the reason why cancer is compared to common cold has been discussed. What are the proposed cure for cancers? In the just previous slides, the proposed cure for cancer have been discussed. So you can easily answer to these questions. And 2 flowcharts have been given here. These flowcharts are very much important. And what is the first flowchart? Based on your reading of the passage, make short notes in each of the boxes in the flowchart showing information about fossil fuels and clean energy. Many information has been discussed, so you can easily put information following the first one into rest of the 5 boxes. Focusing on fossil fuel and clean energy. So the information regarding fossil fuel and clean energy can be will have to be put in the boxes following the previous one. One information is given, many alternatives to fossil fuels examined. That means you are to put the information regarding fossil fuels and clean energy following the instructions of flowchart. Next, based on your reading of the passage, make short notes in each of the boxes in the flowchart showing information about the fatal disease cancer. That means you are to put the information about the disease cancer, which is very much fatal. One information has been given, one of the most fatal diseases in modern time. That means cancer is one of the most fatal diseases in the modern time. Then rest of the information you will have to put in the boxes following the instruction of flowchart. So that's all today. Hope you have enjoyed this video, and I think this video will be very much helpful to you to have a proper understanding on this unit. Thank you all.